What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Try Time Podcast, episode number 79. I'm Matt.
Sorry, I'm off. I'm Callum.
He's somebody anyway, we've forgotten who. And, funnily enough, we're now asking that to play director of rugby again. Because after single-handedly solving Hull FC's crisis, to which they listened to us on a couple of signings, not all of them, but a couple.
Yeah, they're still on the pitch. It's not really improved, but...
Well, we've not got them in yet, so it's fine.
No, yeah, I know, but...
It's more, to be fair, they've listened to us quite a lot. They've shipped Pele, they've shipped Ockenbo, they've got Abdul, they've got Amir Burra.
And I think at the time I said jokingly, send Ockenbo and Pele to Bradford, and that's actually happened as well.
It has, yes. Whereas now, Huddersfield is our next team to try and fix after we're recording this off the back of them shipping 60 to Salford. So... Yeah.
Which is
that will give you an idea of the timeline. Obviously, if anything has moved in the last, probably 2 weeks before this has gone out, given we're all dressed the exact same as episode 77.
70, yeah, so it's weird.
2 weeks in front
not a weird
because
thing.
Somebody wanted to go to Ibiza.
Yeah, so I'm on, that's why. But, yeah, I mean, just before we get in, Huddersfield haven't announced coach for next year, have they?
I was going to open with that.
Yeah, I thought you would do, but I just wanted to double check.
So, obviously... Watson left mid-season. Luke Robinson has taken over on an interim, and I would not say they've had a significant uptick in form under that.
I think he's just kind of given some of the younger players a bit of a chance and sort of tried to see who wants to still be at the club, which is probably the right thing to do. I don't think they've been like stupidly bad, but when you're not playing for anything and the teams that you're playing against, like Salford, is, you know, they've got a lot to fight for at the minute up at top of the league. So, you know, it's one of them really. I don't think we're too sort of disillusioned with anything as an Huddersfield fan, but they need to get it right though. It's a big decision.
Which I guess with that, is there any names in mind that you've got about who could be the guy? Or, well, it's 2024, the girl to take the job.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I'll tell you what, give me Jodie Cunningham there. Oh.
This was the perfect chance to do some equality, and you just go for the one you were gawping at on the pitch on Headingley for 2 hours.
No, that's bollocks, is that, mate? Don't be outing me like this.
What would your lass say to that?
Don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
Go have a long, hard think about this in shame after the podcast.
What did I say? I just said she'd be a good manager. She's my favourite women.
It was the
player.
And that made it.
She's the one women's player where I watch her play and I'm like, she probably could play with men.
I'm not going to say she's probably the one that you just watch all game then, but...
No, you're putting this sort of misogynistic view onto me. I'm not doing that. I'm
good.
Just saying she's a good player. She's
good.
Good rugby
She's a
player.
very good player.
She speaks well as well on Sky and stuff. Like,
yeah, good presenter, good player.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, I think realistic targets, I think, you know, they'll be looking at people like Mark Dunning, you know, maybe John Keir out of retirement.
Why not Mank Dunning?
maybe
let that dream come true and get him and O'Carroll out of Bradford.
I think I could see it being a James Ford job, maybe.
This isn't really inspiring us, is it?
No, I know I am all joking. Although someone like James Ford, somehow could see that happening, but.
Yeah, that would be a dreadful appointment. I mean, they were linked with Rowan Smith, which, for the record, God no.
There's not many available. Like, there's no one that just screams out at you, is there really?
No. And I don't know how bad I feel about doing a fire shop raid for Eccles.
Yeah, Eccles, I think, is probably the best option out there. But yeah, you've probably. I mean, I know he likes spending his money, does Ken Davey, but you probably, for Eccles, it'll be an expensive job because I assume you probably, like, Eccles is probably only going to come up and do that if he's, like, got to relocate himself, and I'm assuming he's got family and stuff. You know, they're going to have to put a bit in there for his...
It's going to have to be worthwhile, and I don't obviously know
his
away from rugby situation in terms of whether he'd be willing to make that move.
I think he's would be the right choice from a rugby perspective, whether it's going to work logistically, and obviously whether you get, you know, there's some big.
Or you go down under, I guess, is the other alternative, which, you know, we've seen it go both ways.
there's some big personalities in that squad. You got like Tom Burgess is going to be there next year, as we're going to come on to. I don't know if Eccles is the best man for that type of job. He might be.
I almost, in a weird way for Huddersfield, it's almost a pity that Sam's actually done well at Warrington.
Yeah, that's what they were counting on, just getting him off back of him and letting him go. But I think for me, Sam Burgess is the way he's, carried himself and managed at Warrington. I honestly see Warrington not wanting to let him go, even if they win out for the next 2 years. I think they want a project under him, and I think even if it goes wrong, I think he's a future coach, probably in NRL as well. I think he's future coach of England potential. I
think that's the problem, is it? There's not really the names that look good in Super League. You're probably not getting out because Lamb's not leaving Lee.
No, because Beaumont will just pay him more, or if he's leaving Lee, he'll probably just go back down under, go back home.
Well, I think he's recently signed a new deal as well.
Yeah. That's what I think.
There's no physical chance you get him out.
But I think the whole sort of thing when, Lamb there was rumours of him leaving, it wasn't like, he's going to leave and go to another club in Super League. It was, he's going to leave and potentially move back down under, which obviously new deal and stuff says that's not going to happen. So
I think the rogue shout here would be to get Applegarth.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I don't think there's anyone obvious in the Championship who's stood out and done amazing things. Like, don't get me wrong, I think O'Carroll's been fine at Bradford. I know Harry disagrees, but I still don't think he's ready for that Super League full time.
I don't think Huddersfield is the club you want to be taking on in that position with very limited experience. I think the personalities are too big.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
My worry, I think, even with, like you say, Eccles or Applegarth, I think you almost need a big name to try and tame those. And I don't think that big name's out there.
Not that I can think of.
Unless you go really balls to the wall and see if Tony Smith's still got it or whether Hull FC is just the poison chalice. But that is a big, big risk. And it's also not a forward-thinking appointment.
No, do they go for, an outside? I know I'm assuming he's moved home, but Brett Hodgson, Huddersfield legend, coached in Super League before.
It's not the worst option.
There's stuff like that. But yeah, like you say, there's no sort of obvious option in Huddersfield. That sort of thing.
He lacks experience.
Huddersfield's issue is they don't really have many club-like legends. Like Welland's taking over at Saints.
They've arguably tried that with Robinson, and it's not really worked for him unless Big Earl Crabtree or his wrestling father have got any intricate ideas to throw into the mix.
Well, they've still got fucking Cudjoe as a club, probably their biggest club legend. He's still fucking playing at about 50. That's
Did you do the Mark Aston player coach?
Maybe that's what they need to do, yeah.
Because if he was retiring, that's probably not the worst shout in the world.
Yeah,
again, how do you tame egos like Bert? I don't necessarily Birch is going to be a problem player, but he's going to come with a chip.
I've got the answer, which I think is the most realistic answer.
Go on.
Fraser New, assistant to Wellens at Saints.
It's not a bad shout.
You see what? Yeah, that's the sort of thing.
He's not a dreadful coach. I don't think he's necessarily a gold mine, but he's certainly not shit.
I think it's realistic, that though.
I think it is. And I think, like you say, looking at the assistant coach market is probably better. Maybe Lee Breers. That's, I think, the other one that's kind of standing out to me as someone who's probably got enough of their own ego and their own chip on a shoulder to deal with some of these players. Because he's obviously been around the block and knows Super League like the back of his hand. He's won basically everything.
Yeah, and he's got that assistant coaching experience, and his next step probably is into that, first team coaching Super League sort of role.
Yeah, and again, because I don't think you're going to see Rowley come over. I don't think another one's going to make the Salford to Huddersfield mistake.
No, I can't see Rowley doing that.
I also don't necessarily think he necessarily is. I think he gets the best out of problem players that actually want to go and have a career. I don't think that's necessarily the lot you've got at Huddersfield. I think they're kind of a different problems, and he'd probably be like, I don't want to work with them, ship them off. And Davey will just spend big money on these, get stuffed.
I mean, if we're talking assistant managers, and to be fair, I'm just going to say this because this, like we say, we recorded 2 weeks ago. Within the last 2 weeks, they've definitely announced a new manager. It's just going to have happened, mate. So, congratulations. And we won't have mentioned who it is or something, and we'll just look stupid. But
it'll be someone we've never heard of. It'll be some random bloke out of Australian second grade or whatever.
Which wouldn't even be a worse shout, to be fair. But
yeah, one, but the problem is I don't know them enough to throw any names into the ring.
No. But what about like a Chev Walker, maybe? But if they go down that route, I think there'd be others above him if they're going for someone else's.
Honestly, I don't know why he'd leave Leeds to go to Huddersfield. I know it's a head coaching role as opposed to an assistant, but considering his playing, and also the experience of working under Arthur, I don't think that's
because I think with this
the right move for him either as well.
And with Arthur, he's not going to be at Leeds forever, so Walker can kind of that could be his takeover in 18 months' time. It could be his team to take over. Yeah,
he's certainly keeping himself in the right camp for that to be an option. Yeah. Whereas, like you say, a move to the Giants completely derails that. If it doesn't go well, and we've already said multiple times it's a big job to take in terms of the state of the club. If that goes badly, that's probably game over.
Yeah.
You're not getting the Leeds job after that. You're going to have to go make your entire reputation again.
Yeah, well, I mean, my top two options would probably be my option that I think would be the ideal option, probably with a degree of realism, would be Eccles. But I think the most realistic, my prediction would be Fraser now.
I'd like to think you've maybe got a chance at getting Breers.
Yeah.
And that's probably where I'm going to say I would make the first attempt to go.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I think we've each gone for different but sensible coach choices.
Yeah.
And I guess now it's time to look at the squad. Now, what I kind of thought is we'll go quickly through the players who are out of contract and the ones, obviously, that we've quickly recap over who they have signed. And then I guess we'll work through the rest of the squad in terms of what we propose to do with them.
Yeah.
So I guess in terms of players out of contract this year, young Aidan McGowan, renew for me.
I mean, renew, but I also hope they don't and it couldn't in Bradford sign him, but that's selfish.
You're working for Huddersfield. Take the club glasses off.
Renew him and give it number one shirt for me.
Not the worst option. I think suggesting what you're going to do with the existing number one, but Adam Milner's 1 year extension option, do you trigger it?
Yeah, I think he's sort of professional Super League level player that you need around camp.
Kevin Nagama.
I think again I think if you get him on board and he's on board with the coach, I think he's a great player to have around the club.
I'm going to say hold off because there's another player I want to sign instead of him.
Where are they with quota players?
Well, that is a valid question. So currently, we've got Ethan Masters, who is departing for Salford.
Yeah, so 0 so far.
Nagama.
Yeah.
Tui Lolohea.
He's still contracted.
Yes.
See, he's won that. He's a Watson player. Like I think a new manager would not want Tui Lolohea.
Well, let's. So that's what with him and Clune. That's 4.
Oh, there's Clune as well. So I'm on 3 now.
Oh, yeah, because you've not counted Masters because he's already going.
Yeah.
Murchie.
Yeah, who I like, to be fair.
And Ike FIFA.
Yeah. Is Thomas Deakin? Let me get my phone up. We're on 5 there without.
Yeah.
But they did sign him from. Then I'm not making that up. I know he's barely played, but.
No, he's definitely an Aussie.
Yeah.
Oh, and Savelio as well.
Which how many? No, Savelio's not classed as a quota player. Because he came through academy at FC or something, didn't he? Or
he came through St Helens, but he's still a team.
Whichever one he came through. Oh, Deakin.
Deakin is definitely Aussie.
He's not born in England, but spent much of his childhood in Australia. He's currently Huddersfield's first choice thingy. I don't think he's a quota player. Potentially.
Maybe not then. I mean, admittedly, I've not got the most reliable source here for this. But in terms of what it's telling me on his squad number that he's English, and in the player transfers in that he's Australian. So even they don't know.
He doesn't have a set allegiance, but I would assume that means he's not a quota player.
Likewise with Savelio.
Yeah.
Well, let's say 5 then.
Yeah.
And we can kind of.
Oh wait, hold on. I've got the thing here. Every Super League club's overseas quota spots.
Okay, this will tell us.
So Huddersfield. So they've got Essen Masters.
Yep.
Nagama.
Yep.
Tulala here.
Yeah.
Ikafio, Merchant, and Clune. But have I made Ikafio sign for someone for next season, like Widnes or something?
I've not seen that one come through.
Because there were the rumours of Bradford, weren't there?
Yeah.
Let me get that out. But yeah, so they already only had. I only said 6 names then, didn't I?
Yeah, and Masters is already going, so they've got quota spots to burn.
Sebika here for Honour is attracting interest from Halifax.
I'm going to say I don't think he's actually gone anywhere.
I'm going to get on Twitter and look at this anyway. So we're saying.
So we've got 5 quota players, I guess, is where we're at now.
We've got a couple to bring in.
I mean, I guess let's go through the squad and see what gaps we've got in terms of who's leaving. So, Jake Connor. I'm thinking get rid.
Is he out of contract?
No.
All right. Are we on?
Which is the only other problem. We've got to find some sorry fucker that'll take him. But let's assume that someone will. Hull FC might want him back. They seem to want every other sort to go in, so let's give him them as well.
Yeah. It just says closing in on move.
Well, with nothing confirmed, I think we take it that it is currently there. But no, where's his level, Jake Connor? Facts in League One if they go down.
No, I think he still can do it in Super League.
I think so. I just don't necessarily think it's working out at Huddersfield for him. And obviously, this is his second stint there that's not really worked out that well. So I think for the good of everybody, it's time to move on.
What is he number 1 at Huddersfield?
He is.
See, I'd give that shirt to McGowan. I think he's ready.
Interesting. Swift, keep.
Swift's unreal. Too good for Huddersfield.
So you've got a first centre gap where Masters has gone.
Yeah.
You've then got Nagama, who's you're keeping, I'm question marking.
Yeah.
Jake Bibby.
Not as your other winger. I think I prefer Halsall or Wallace or, I know McGowan's played on wing at points.
Yeah, I mean, I am just going squad numbers rather than who realistically starts there.
No, yeah, I know that. But,
I think for me, Bibby goes. I'm not.
He goes or stays as a squad player.
I think, Albert, if you're going to insist on playing him, you can't get rid of him.
Yeah, I'm going to say you might not be able to get rid of these players.
If he's not willing to move on and no one's willing to pay the money, I think you almost play him as a centre rather than a winger.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Then you get to the halves. 2-8, I think you try and move on.
Yeah.
Clune, I'm happy to keep.
Yeah, I like Clune.
Just realised who we've got next.
Chris Hill.
Yeah.
Keep, obviously.
Ship on. Time to hang up. To be fair, he's not going anywhere. You're stuck with him until he retires.
I love Chris Hill because I think he's just there's not props like him anymore. He just does the job.
I do, but I've accepted that I'm not going to be able to shift him on because no one else is going to take him till that money till it. So it's either retirement or contract, and he ain't going to go early.
Yeah, I think he's got one more year at Huddersfield and then maybe a couple of years in Champ.
I think his time's done at Huddersfield, but I'm a bit bummed by what.
I'll remind you of that when he's, starting for England against Samoa.
Well, then I'll remind you of that when we get pumped 2-0 in the test then. Milner at hooker, I maybe don't keep him as number 9, but I still want him around the club.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe Deakin has kind of taken that shirt in practice anyway, but...
Yeah, maybe.
Joe Greenwood wearing 10. That's not for me.
No.
Murchie, I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Sam Hewitt at 12. I'm not convinced on that either.
I like Sam Hewitt. It's good. But, yeah, I don't know about him at 12. But based on what they've got, I think.
I think with what they've got, it's fine. But realistically, he probably wants to be somewhere around
17
for me. Then what else? Then for someone who've got a massive gap in the numbers, God knows why. Then Harry Rushton pops up.
At 16?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind Harry Rushton. It's fine.
I don't. Solid. Oliver Wilson. I think
he's gone.
He's
gone.
No,
I'm on about Russell. Sorry. Wilson. I like Wilson.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm thinking of Russell as well, yeah. Yeah, Wilson's fine. Icky for... I think if there's interest, I want the quota spot.
Yeah.
And that's not... I think he's good enough still. But I don't think he necessarily offers me any more than what I can get from a Federation player.
Yeah.
Deakin, I think we keep.
Yeah.
Wallace, I'm not sold on him. But I think as a third...
He's an all right third form winger.
Yeah. Could Joe keep? He's kind of model.
Well, he's just signed a new deal, hasn't he? So.
And he's the model professional you want who embodies the club and is a club legend. Like,
yeah.
You need some experience and some maturity in your pack. And to be fair, Hill will do that because he is a professional.
Yeah.
He's not going to throw his toys out the pram when things get difficult. Got Harvey Levette. Get rid for me.
He's actually... Yeah, I agree, but is Ash Golding not still there? He's number 14. I've just got squad numbers up now. Because I know, obviously, Yates were 13, so I know why he's not there. English 15, I get why he's not there, but...
Yeah, I think this is missing Ash Golding.
Yeah, who I would keep.
I want to keep him, but I am very concerned about his injury record.
Yeah.
So I think if the opportunity arises, I wouldn't turn down an approach.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think I actively look to shift him on.
Yeah.
But if he attracts interest, I don't think I say no.
That's fair.
I'll leave that in the players' hands. Then, like I say, we're starting to get it down. So Sam Halsall.
Yep, again, winger. Really
I think probably that's fair. He's played better than Wallace.
Yeah, I think the winger that they should start's further down this list, by the way. But we'll get to that.
What are you going to say, blooming Connor Carr or something, daft?
Connor Carr's unreal, mate. I tell you, he's so good.
Then you get to your other mate, Fenton.
I think you keep him. I think
you keep him because he's a very raw talent, but I still don't think he's worthy to go much higher of 25 yet.
No, I think you need to give him a season where he can be in and around the first team more and stuff, I think.
Yeah. Salabio?
Yeah, probably similar to Fenton, to be honest.
Yeah. Kieran Rush, same again.
Half-back, maybe try and integrate him a bit more than you have done this season already.
Potentially, yeah. Jack Bibby?
Yeah, I mean, he spends all his time out on loan in Championship, to be fair.
I'm not too bothered for keeping him at this point. I think if it were going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think he's one of them props who's just going to naturally just end up being a nice, decent quality Championship prop. You know, if I got a thing tomorrow, Bradford have signed Jack Bibby on a year, I'd be like, really good, solid Championship signing that. But yeah, it's one of them, really. Then
obviously your mate, Connor Carr, George Flanagan. I guess we'll clarify it's junior.
Yeah. I think you're going to keep him, aren't you? I mean, for money you paid for him, you probably should keep him, really. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad recruitment decision.
Potentially. Although, you say that, but he had I mean, he played for Yorkshire under-19s and stuff. Like, he's a good player, and he's still only young, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe, I think, he's obviously been at Hunter this year. I think potentially be looking at a championship loan next year.
I also appreciate that the idiots on Wikipedia have linked Flanagan's seniors page to him.
Folks.
Excellent work, guys. And then Savelia, who I would ship on.
Yeah, but I would as well. But I mean,
I
it might
don't
not
really
be.
know why they signed him, to be honest. But
yeah, it's one of them, is that?
So I think it seems like we need some players, squad players and starters.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your initial thoughts, I guess?
I've just realised as well, I didn't even have to go all that way around houses with quarter spots, because this article literally says how many quarter spots they've got for next year.
Winner.
So, but yeah, so I mean, we're looking at positions, I guess. Winger, I think you need a solid winger to start. Problem is, a lot of teams need wingers, as we've previously discussed on the past podcasts and stuff. So
I'm going to throw a name out that we mentioned in the other pod a few weeks ago.
Go on.
As a stopgap, I don't think Rapin is a bad shout.
No, I think that would be smart. I agree. I think that's good.
It's a sensible use to replace your quarter spot you're getting from Masters.
Yeah.
He's very experienced at obviously the top level. And I think despite his age, Nagama's still proving that if you're fit enough, you can still offer a lot to a team at 35.
And I think it'll help on maybe like a 2-year deal. The players, like we're talking about Wallace, we're talking Halsall, we're talking Carr, bringing them young wingers through and giving them the knowledge and experience to learn off. I think it'd be a good shout, to be fair.
I think so. I think that's my next move.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as wingers. I
mean, do you think we need one or two? Are you happy?
I just think you need, if you get a winger like Rapiner, you don't need to sign another, because you've got them other three there as well.
I guess if you're looking for more a cheaper option, Fuad Yaha wouldn't be the worst move.
No, it's not a bad shout.
Solid experienced Super League player. I maybe don't think that excites me as much. I think if Rapin has already got plans to go somewhere bigger, I'd probably go and approach Yaha's team. But
yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's any others on this from other teams that are kind of obvious. But if you're looking for like a starter, you're not going to get, unless you go for like a Kershaw, which I don't think would be a worse shout.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess first of all, you're giving McGowan the number one shirt. I wouldn't mind going in for Rock.
Yeah, but has Rock not officially signed for Wake yet?
I don't know if it's happened yet.
I swear.
Okay, let me rephrase this. I don't know if it's happened yet. By the time it happens in 2 weeks, it's probably been announced. So let's overlook that one then.
It just says they're just keen to get him at the minute.
It's probably going to have happened, hasn't it?
They're chasing him.
And
he's fast. At Magic, he's fast, but they're going to catch him.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, who's going to...
You know what would be the most Huddersfield signing at wing? John Bennison.
Oh, God. It would as well.
With a centre partnership with Conrad Earl.
Yeah, that's...
Not what I'd do, but I could see it.
Jesus. Right, let's not even discuss that, because that's just a scary thought. Because like you said, that's worryingly accurate. I guess, what are we replacing Masters with then?
What, in centre?
Yeah, because that's probably the next.
I'm just looking through some other teams have got.
Because I've got a name in mind, and it's a player who's confirmed to be leaving their current club, although we don't really know where yet.
Go on.
I'm going to say Matthew Laguerre.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
And obviously, I mean, I know he's played predominantly at 4, which I mean, guess is also an option should I enter a world where I decide I want the quarter spot from Nagama.
Yeah.
Because I don't really see much other excitement out there. I mean, I've been interested in Broadbent before that was made permanent. That option's now very much gone.
Look at the
I don't think you really give someone like Tuamavave a contract. I don't think he's been fit enough over the last few years to risk that.
Yeah.
I also don't think that's necessarily a wise use of a quarter either. I've not seen enough of Louis Roberts to warrant picking him up. I don't think he's an improvement on what you've got.
No, none of these are like...
Maybe Ricky Latelli's not the worst shout.
Back at Huddersfield.
But obviously that comes with baggage.
What about Waka Blake?
I don't think... Put him in open play and he is fantastic. I don't know if I see that as the best use of the quarter spot.
No, I
almost think I'd rather somebody like a Jared Bassett than a Waka.
Yeah, I will look at Jared Bassett.
A general kind of squad player will be happy to take less money, but again, I suppose he is still a quarter, and at 32,
and you got to relocate him as well, and it's like, oh.
Well, he's an Aussie in London, like he's already relocated. Like that's not the biggest problem I've got.
Yeah, true. But
I mean, there's obviously a lot of potential pickups in that London squad. So it's kind of one you could pick to apart, really. But obviously, you've got to be careful about where you put in the quarters. I'm not overly interested in Hakeem Maloudy. That one doesn't excite me.
Nah, I would agree with you on that. I think a sort of area you could look at is like look at Wakey's centres. You know, they've got Cam Scott coming in, obviously.
I don't think Wakey's current centres are that's probably the weakest area of their team.
I know, but like, could you see Thornley maybe going?
It's a rogue shot, and I don't know if he's quite ready to take a Super League starting centre position, given he's not really played much this season. But I think there is a player in there somewhere, and as general cover. Give him like a low 20s shirt. I'm not against signing Franco.
Disagree. I think Franco might sign for Bradford next year, you know.
Well, he's better.
He's like fourth choice centre for Wakey.
I'm going to say he's far better than like Max Lehman.
But you look at like, does he like
maybe Jaden Myers?
You are.
If I'm reading Bulls, maybe Jaden Myers isn't the worst shot.
Maybe, yeah. If you go, I mean, you could take Gill, and wouldn't be a bad option. But
no, I think I want something that's got a bit more flair. I think in that sense.
Yeah. Because they could like Wakey are going to want to keep Order Pratt because he's like academy product. But like Thornley, I could see him let go. Obviously, Crofts played a lot there.
I've got another rogue one, but again, I don't know if it's the best use of a quarter. Did you take Willie Isa?
Not to play centre, no. Definitely not to play centre. I'm just looking because a good option.
I think there's my preferred option here.
Mathieu Dusson from fucking Toulouse. He's Toulouse's best player. He's so good. There you go.
Is that what you're going for?
Mathieu Dusson, yeah. He's always rips fucking balls and you win. Big fucker. You'll recognise him. He's big fucker with massive moustache. Look. You'll know it. You know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
He's good though. He is good.
He is a good player.
And he's like French international, not going to kill you on cap. 25 years old.
Well, actually, then, in that is a good shout. And what I'm probably going to do is swap my all quarter centre pairing for an all French pairing.
Right.
Replacing Masters and Nagama.
That won't be too bad, to be fair.
Because I've decided on my Tui replacement and I'm handing out my second marquee spot after Burgess.
Go on.
We're going in big for Anthony Milford.
Right.
Off contract at Dolphins, not really regular in the first team.
It's a lot of money, is that, mate?
It's a lot of money.
That's over $1 million a year for him and Burgess, isn't it?
That and Clune as my halfbacks. That's got excitement.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say...
Essentially got bankruptcy, but it's got excitement.
No, yeah.
I mean, I could be boring and say Kay Custo. We should have gone for Nicarima, but that's a bit dull, isn't it, really?
I think Campagnolo.
That's the more budget option.
Yeah, all right.
Because there isn't much in or out in the halfbacks, I'm going to be honest. It's a bit dead.
Mason Lino.
Why is he going to leave Wakefield?
Truman.
Is Truman not replacing Gale?
Yeah, I guess it is. I'm trying to play fucking devil's advocate here, mate.
Morgan Smith, then, if you're going to pick random names from clubs that are treading through treacle. Like, okay, hijack your deal for Meadows.
Yeah, fucking have him.
Like,
he's going to play next year for Warrington, but that fucking, what's it called now?
I can't wait for your mum to watch this and just berate you for how much you're swearing, by the way.
Don't start. What's it called, that young halfback for Warrington?
What, Leon Hayes?
Yeah.
Warrington,
I guess he's going to replace Drinkwater's going next year, so.
Yeah, and I don't particularly want Drinkwater.
Yeah.
Drinkwater and Clune does not make me feel things.
Yeah. Maybe they go for Sinfield.
What, on loan?
No, that won't happen, mate. You know that.
No, we don't loan Sinfield. It's part of the unwritten rules.
I could see him with Gaskell.
Oh God, that's a return.
Back with Gaskell at Huddersfield, fucking hell.
I think that is the biggest problem because I don't think there's an obvious name to go in the halves.
The thing with halfbacks is there's a lot of good half. You could go get Jouffre and you'd be fucking laughing.
And like maybe him or Campagnolo is the sensible option.
Yeah, Jouffre, he's got to go somewhere. Jouffre,
especially if facts go down.
Yeah,
like come on, he can't be playing League One, and facts and Huddersfield is not a relocation job either.
I don't. Yeah, but
I don't understand that. Although it feels like I'm just trying to recreate the French national setup here because that's my third French acquisition in that case.
Yeah, and then you got Salabio on bench as well already.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want Sangare to solve my prop problem. So that's something.
So should I guess in forwards, we probably want a good starting back rower, maybe a loose, and then I guess a few props won't go amiss. Although props probably one of the stronger depth points in the team with Burgess coming in and Hill and Greenwood and Rogers, Salabio, Wilson.
I think there's potential in there, definitely. Like you say, it's where.
I mean, if you need a back rower, do you not just use your quota spot on Fulton and just buy him out at Bulls?
It's an option. I don't know if it's worth the quota.
Maybe.
That's the problem I've got there. Can I bring an old name back to Super League?
Go on.
Quota spot. Tikka Masala.
Fucking hell.
Is it the return of Ben Murdoch-Masila?
Well, I don't know if he'd come back to go to Huddersfield, to be fair. And not if you've got fucking Milford as well. How much money do you think you've got?
Do you think how much do we think it's actually going to take? Because I don't know if he gets another contract at St. George.
I don't know. He probably does. Like maybe he does. I don't know.
If not, and he's actually on his way out, then I don't think he's going to necessarily be the most expensive player in the world.
Maybe not, but I think if you want a back rower, there's probably.
I thought we'd already established we might not get Milford, so we're going Jouffre.
All right.
Save the money. We've got to build a French team here.
Well, who's a good French back rower?
Well, there ain't many. That's the problem.
Seguier from Catalans. Is he out of contract?
I'll have a look. No, but Julien Busquets is.
Yeah, but
there we go. That's the new Joe Greenwood. Then Busquets in.
Christ.
Da Costa's getting my other hooker shirt. There we go. in Milner and Deakin can argue over who's where.
Yeah. But no, I think a loose forward, I think that's such an important position because I think if you're playing a team where you're starting props, so let's say Burgess and Hill, I think you need a really mobile 13.
Yeah, because otherwise that's a very flat. Like you can't play 3 props with that.
So then what? Because 13s, they're hard to come by. We know we've got some really good ones in Super League, but they're not,
But like they are really good. They're not 10 a penny.
Maybe they've got to risk and do what KR did to get Mincello and dip down into Championship. And I mean, what 13 do you go for in Championship? Though now I've said that, I've kind of told myself out of it myself because there ain't really any obvious option, is there? I like Mario. I know we're joking about the French thing, but Marion at Toulouse is really good. But he's maybe not the big name you want, I guess. But like none of them really have like an obvious 13 who's really, really good. Like who's young as well, who you'd want to sign. Like you're not taking Michael Lawrence back, are you? Not with his injury record, anyway.
No, that's very true.
You're not shopping around like Danny Addy, are you? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's arguably not the worst stop.
No, it's not. But you're not. That's not fixing the issue. Huddersfield don't get playoffs next year with Danny Addy as number 13, do they? On back of a season with Fev. Unless he's on his Chris Wellham shit and he's fucking going part-time and coming back and being best centre in Super League.
Yeah, it is an interesting one.
Do you go for like taking one at just grab someone from Wigan maybe? I mean, I've seen Max Wood at Warrington, he's out of contract. I think if you just need an extra middle body, I think he's great. If you can get him and he won't cost you a lot of money either, only a young lad still.
Yeah, that's not the worst shout.
But
I've got a rogue one, and I think half the fans would say yes, although I'm not sure whether or not the team in question would.
Go on.
Do you pick up your rival's captain?
Go on. What, Cam Smith?
Yes.
Leeds won't let him go. Like, no way Everton lets him go, by the way. I know Leeds fans would love to see him go, which is probably a bit harsh, really.
I wouldn't be part of that crew. I think there's a decent player in there, but O'Connor is the superior 13. The problem is he's also the superior 9, and we can't have 2 of them.
Yeah, that is true.
If you could clone Jared O'Connors, then we'd be fine.
I think you just get Westerman for a year, don't you? Just settle things down, to be honest, in realistic. Or you get someone from Oz.
But I don't think he's not off contract, though, and that's the problem, because Cass are not going to want to let him go to Huddersfield. A direct rival final Super League spot.
Because of his money, the money is on the mic, but yeah, I think you probably have to go overseas to look for a good 13 that's available.
I mean, if you look at our official Try MG podcast from last week, it was Cass and Huddersfield. We had battling it out for the last spot.
Yeah, so Huddersfield fans, he's already pissed you off last week anyway. So
look, at least I'm trying to rebuild you if you do survive to not be in this position. I mean, the problem is even the NRL out of contracts for 13 don't look amazing. I'm not blown away by any of these. I mean, the best you've got is probably Eisenhuth out of Penrith, which is that going to happen?
What, Isaiah Yeo?
Probably not.
Is that what you said, Isaiah Yeo?
No.
Oh, I don't know why I thought just when you said wait, is Yeo is Penrith is 13, isn't it? I've admitted that it is. I know he used to play back row,
Yeah, I don't think this guy's a starting one.
Oh, right, fair enough.
You've got a 33-year-old Isaac Liu. Again,
you just play Adam Milner at 13.
You what, sorry?
You just play Adam Milner at 13.
It's to be honest, I'm half leaning towards that because
I'm
not. You're getting into the world of speculative punts on aging Aussies and why are they coming over? Is it because they want to play Super League or is it for a payday?
Yeah, because there's no obvious options, is there? Yeah.
No, and that's.
We got him for Asiata before. FC did. That's a good bit of business because they got him before anyone else really had chance.
Yeah, that is very true, actually.
But yeah, there's not really any sort of. I mean, Sione Matautia, but there's a 1-year option at St Helens have got on him.
And I guess that kind of depends on what the nature of these options are. Like, Is it something that if they've not made an offer by a certain date that offer goes, or does it still stay valid?
Yeah.
You know, we don't obviously know the legal stuff of this.
No, that's true.
So, yeah, without knowing that, it's hard to say. I don't think Matautia would be the worst shout in the world if he's available, but I think the problem is there is a general lack of forwards this year. And I think we almost need to push the youngsters to a bit more.
Maybe so, yeah. Maybe. Or if with the IMG stuff, if Huddersfield just have a season where they can bleed it, give these young players a season, you know, and maybe finish like 10th, and you know, but be giving players like your McGowan's a shot, you know, players like Fenton Rodgers and Salabio, giving them an extended run in the first team, like it could be a good strategy for the future, really. But then, do you feel like if I'm paying however much 500 grand for Burgess to come over and play, do we need to be trying to push playoffs? Because there's that side of it as well. So they're in an interesting situation.
Well, like I said, that's what I think the biggest conundrum for Huddersfield is, and where does that club want to be?
Yeah, because whichever they decide, you know, if they decide they want to do a bit of a season like Cass have had this year, you know, kind of, we know we're not in trouble. Let's just get some of these young players some good experience and sort of get the behind the scenes stuff in check before we trying to buy the playoffs.
But then that's not really aligning with the whole Burgess move. But then
that's what I mean.
The problem is as well, who's signed off on that? Because if that's a Watson decision, it's a decision that's going to be very costly and you're stuck with for the next 2 years.
We said, mate, and I know we had Johnny on and he disagreed, but it's really, we didn't think it were a good move.
I think it's clicks over performance.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously we did our IMG podcast last week. They have since dropped a couple more bits of information about that, and it looks like there's a greater emphasis on stadiums, but also owning your own stadium, which again, it pushes Huddersfield maybe more towards the danger zone.
Yeah, because there's not a world where Huddersfield get to a point where they do own that stadium, because, you know, Huddersfield Town are in the 3rd division of English football and get, you know, going towards 20,000 there every week. And, you know,
Huddersfield some weeks barely get 2. Like,
yeah,
they cannot afford to run that stadium. That's the brute reality. I mean, do Town even own it?
I think it's owned by the council, and
I thought
of agreement lease between both sets of owners. But I think
it almost feels like it's a council-owned right of use thing, which obviously, I mean, we don't know the situation at play there, but it's certainly not in. I'm pretty sure it is ultimately council-owned land.
Well, Huddersfield Town, I think, want to own it because they have, I guess, a case of, you know,
and Town can probably afford that. Giants cannot, and ultimately, all it takes is a fallout at that point. This isn't like Wigan, where they've got basically 50-50 ownership, and actually the crowds are quite similar to warrant that.
Oh no,
it's very much a football town. Wigan is a rugby town as much as it is a football town.
Yeah.
And that's precarious as well, because if they fall out and are out of a ground, you know, we're saying at the start of this year, Salford could be in trouble if they don't source a ground.
Yeah.
That then becomes Huddersfield. And arguably, there's even less on the pitch to save Huddersfield so far.
Oh, if Huddersfield didn't have the stadium and stuff, and I guess the backing of Ken Davey, then they would not be in the IMG 12.
Well, Ken is single-handedly keeping them in here.
If you literally merge Bradford and Huddersfield, they'd be like an A-grade team. But what Bradford do well, like fan base, online interactions, big city club, and everything like that, the history, Huddersfield just have an owner who's pissing money all over it, and a stadium that's obviously like fit for purpose, even though they don't own it.
Well, that's the thing. I guess facilities-wise, it's probably one of the better ones in the league because it has to be, because it was literally a Premier League stadium 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But they're not their facilities.
Yeah, which I guess to a degree we can't fix that. I know we've kind of gone off on a tangent on it, I guess. And this pod that we said we're going to be short has now reached upwards of 50 minutes. So
yeah. I think we've made enough signings.
Yeah, I think it's one of them with Huddersfield where they're not in the dire straits that FC were when we did that one, but this is an important stage of recruitment for the club.
I think the coach is going to be the bigger decision because that's what's going to impact the young players. And I think ultimately for Huddersfield, they've got to allow those to kick on and hope some of them come good, because right now there's simply not enough available on the market. Yeah. And barring any fallouts or players being allowed to leave that we don't necessarily know about yet,
yeah,
it's not looking an obvious recruitment picture for them.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And yeah, they've got to get this coach right. Otherwise, because like we said, they are on the border.
Yeah, no, they are. They're right there. Indeed.
If they get this wrong and finish the next couple of years 12 of 12, they could be the first IMG swap.
Yeah. With the mighty Bulls.
I'm not going to respond to that. But
yeah, but
you know, obviously we know Bradford aren't fav. Toulouse are in the conversation. Cass have put seats in. Huddersfield have done nothing because there's a very big limit on what they can actually do.
I mean, Huddersfield need to take seats out of theirs to get it.
But Town can't afford that. They need bums on seats. There is a limit for what Huddersfield can do to gain points. So they have to maximise them where they can. And the one place they're not held back is in the salary cap.
Yeah.
They've got to do better on pitch because that's what's going to keep them in the league, fundamentally.
Yeah. No, definitely. And yeah.
For God's sake, if you're from Huddersfield, just go to the bloody game. Okay, it might be shit watching them ship 60 against Salford, but they're not going to improve without more fans.
Yeah, but they're just not interested. People just aren't interested in that sort of. There's no buzz around the city for it.
No, and it's a town for a start, but.
Yeah, but it's biggest town in fucking country, mate. So it's basically a city.
Isn't that Warrington that get that honour?
No, it's Huddersfield. I'll fact check it, mate. Don't worry.
Go on then, you fact check while But because that's the other problem, is it, when you look at this with an IMG lens on, you want markets you can grow and big places to market, and at least your Castlefords have that buzz of being a rugby town. At the moment, Huddersfield doesn't have that, and I don't know what they've got to do to get that. Because if they do, I'll stop bullying their attendance figures.
Apparently, Huddersfield is like the 11th, but the ones bigger than it are all like southern towns.
No one cares about the southern.
So, yeah. Yeah, it's up there. It's big. Yeah, it's up there. Anyway. Big town, in it. But yeah, let us know what you think, and what would you do at Huddersfield, and
how many of these do they sign? Because it turns out we've got more inside people watching this and think we're actually really good at this job.
Yeah,
as much as we piss about.
When Aidan McGowan gets the number 1 shirt next year.
Oh, I never signed a fullback. Never mind. I can't be bothered looking for one now.
Yeah, fuck it. Just you like McGowan, don't you? So.
Yeah, well, I said trust the youth. It's a good chance.
Yeah, or just sign a random French fullback.
Yeah, I don't know what Morgan Estigray returns to England.
Gigo.
I think he's had one return too many at this point. He's had more farewells than Cher.
Fucking hell, right.
Right,
go on, I'll let you quote a Cher song now as we head out to it, mate. I know that's what you were.
Right, well, for Huddersfield, we believe in life after Masters. There you go.
Right.
But we can't turn back time and keep him.
Right, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.